Hey everyone, and welcome to a Minecraft tutorial. Today we will be building this horse stable that you can see behind me. I recently built this actually in a Let's Play series I'm doing on the ATLYSS SMP server. You can find a link to that video up in the top right hand corner. But I figured this would be a great building to do for a tutorial. If you guys are looking for some sort of small stable to put your 1, 2, 3, maybe 4 horses on a server or a single player world, this tutorial is perfect for you. Now, the materials I have over here on the side, we're going to be using a lot of oak wood, stone, and a few extra things. So we're going to have oak fence gates, fences, slabs, stairs, and blocks, as well as ladders, stripped oak and oak. We're going to have stone stairs, slabs, and blocks, as well as the stone brick, exact same 3, leaves, hay bales, barrels, and a cauldron with water in it, actually 3 cauldrons with water in it, and a bunch of lanterns. I recommend getting at least a stack of leaves and of hay bales, barrels, and the rest of this stuff. Get as much as you can get. I won't be providing a parts list, but if that's something that you would like in a future tutorial from me, let me know down in the comment section below. But without further ado, guys, let's go ahead and get on into this tutorial. Before we begin, make sure you have a 7x9, at least a 7x9 area for this horse stable. This is where the base of the stable is going to go. I recommend a little bit bigger on each side to include some of the outside decorations, but this is the minimum area that you will need. So to start off today's tutorial, you're going to need to place a log in each of these corners. So on the front here, there's going to be a 5-block gap in between the 2 pillars. Same with the back. And then on the sides, we're going to want to find the middle in between these 2 logs and place a log right there, such that there is a 3-block gap on the sides between each log, just like so. 1, 2, 3, just like that. Then we're going to take each of these pillars up an additional 3 blocks to make it 4 tall at each of these pillars. So make sure you go ahead and do that. You can do it at higher or lower, but if you want to follow this build exactly, I highly recommend this style. Next, we are actually going to do the roof. So I'm a little bit weird. I like doing the roof first before I do the actual build itself. So you can do whatever order you want, but for this tutorial, we'll be doing the roof first. Now, I start with the outline. I highly recommend starting out with stone. You can go back later and add in the textures. I'll be adding the textures as we go along for this roof. But for the roof outline, for the front here, you're going to have a stair on this 4th block, an upside down stair inwards, a block on top of the upside down stair, a regular stair, upside down stair attached to that stair, another block, another stair, an upside down stair, another stair, and then an upside down stair facing the front at the very top with a slab on top of that. And we're going to do that exact same pattern here on the other side of the front as well. So upside down stair attached to this stair with a block and a stair on top of that, an upside down stair, a block, a stair on top of that, an upside down stair, and then a stair on top of that. So you'll have something that looks a little bit like this. Now I recommend going to the sides and mixing in a little bit of texture variation as you go along. Once again, all of these stairs are on the 4th block up, the 4th block up from the ground. So I'm gonna bring these all the way across to the back. And we're gonna do the exact same roof design on the back. So once you get all of this done, just add in a few of these stairs, vary up the texture a little bit. It's all dependent upon whatever you want to do, something like that. And then we're going to do the exact same design as we did over there. So once again, upside down stair, block, stair, upside down stair, block, stair, not that, stair, upside down stair, stair, upside down stair facing the back in this case. And once again, on the other side, we're going to do the exact same thing. Block, stair, upside down stair, stair, and we have a slab on top of here. So the back is going to look something like this, and the sides something like this. Once you're done with that, keep the stone and stone brick slabs on you, but make sure you get stripped oak or oak, depending upon if you're going to strip while we go along, oak planks and oak stairs, and come up here to the roof where we are going to fill in the roof so we can finally finish off the roof. So I tend to sort of texture as I go along. You can fill everything in with oak and then texture a little bit later if you want to, but I tend to texture as I go along. So you're going to fill in this little gap where the blocks are on the roof outline as well, and you're going to fill in the stairs right where the stairs are outlined on these sides as well, right on top of the oak and stripped oak blocks that you have here. And we're gonna do the exact same thing from this level on this top level. So fill in your oak planks, fill in your stripped oak like so, and add in your oak stairs on the top as well. At the very top, we're going to have ourselves another layer of oak stairs. They're going to coincide or go, basically the same way that we did the bottom area here. And the reason I said keep the stone and stone brick slabs is that at the very top, we're going to make all of this up here stone. So just mix in a little bit of texture variation here at the top. You can do whatever you want here. I recommend adding in a mixture of stone and stone brick, but you can do whatever you want. And then once again, on this side, we're going to do the exact same thing we did on that side. I recommend varying the texture, not the same way you did over there, but fairly similar, just so that we get the same sort of texture variation, but that way it's not the exact same, because from what I've learned in building, the more you vary textures, the better builds come out in the end. And once you have that filled in, we'll take a step back. This is the front, and this is what each of the sides should look like. And the back, of course, still looks the same as the front. Now grab your oak logs, and we're going to be putting in the horizontal, and the rest of the oak pillars into the front and back. So on the front, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 logs across. This is the 5th block up from the ground. We're going to have 5 oak logs across. On top of these oak logs, one from the middle, one out from the middle, 3 oak logs up, 1 oak log across, and then on the other side of the middle, 1, 2, 3 oak logs up. I'm going to add in oak planks on each of the sides here, and we're going to add in 2 oak fences in the middle, just like so. Now we go to the opposite side, and we're going to add in the same oak logs like we did before, 5 across on the 5th block up. From the middle of that horizontal pillar, 1 over to the left, 3 blocks up, 1 over to the right, 3 blocks up, and a horizontal oak at the top. Now I'm going to add in some stripped oak and an oak plank on this one. You can do whatever you want. I just like the texture variation there. And once again, 2 oak fences in the middle like so. And now for the back, this is where it varies from the front. We're going to have an oak pillar coming down from the top. 1, 2, 3, 4. Same sort of oak pillar design as we have in the corners. I think that this just looks a lot better and makes sure that people know that this side over here is indeed the front. And from every single side, the side is still the same. The back is still like this. This side is still the same. And the front now looks like this. Now, this is where we start with the walls. I recommend having a bit of a doorway as a sort of outline for what we want to do with the front here. So I recommend texture variation as we go along. So we're going to include a little bit of a sort of, like I said, like a little bit of a door frame sort of wall, right, like this. And this is going to be our entrance. And on the front, you can actually go ahead and grab your oak fence gates and place them across the front like this. 3 oak fence gates. That's going to allow plenty of room for your horses to stay inside of the horse stable. And make sure that this wall is 1 block inside of these oak pillars as well, because we're going to do that same sort of style for all of the sides and the back as well. So if we head over to this left side, we're going to create a window frame here. We won't be using stairs. We'll be using just plain old blocks, just like this. Create a little bit of a window frame, and then you'll put 2 oak fences right in the middle like so. And for each of these 4 areas, I guess the 3 other areas in your horse stable, you're going to do the exact same. Make sure you fill in this interior area as well, because you don't want to have to come back and do that a little bit later, because who really wants to do things later? Let's get it done now while we still can. The same sort of way that you did this first side. Add in 2 more oak fences. Voila, looks great. And then for the right hand side, you're going to do the exact same thing that you did on the left hand side. So add in a few of those oak. Want to make sure we fill in this gap right here as well. We don't want that to go wasted, because this will be seen from the inside. That's why I said you want to make sure that you have it filled in, and make sure you vary up the textures as well. We'll add in the oak fences as well. So from either side, it should look something like this now. Now onto the back, we're going to do something very similar to what we did on each of the sides. We're going to create more window frames. So maybe we'll do something like this, a few oak planks like that, oak plank in the middle, something like that, right on the inside. And this pillar is going to cover up the middle pillar that's on the inside, but make sure you still fill that in, because you can still see it from the outside, and It'll look good from the inside. And you want to add 2 more sets of 2 oak fences, just like so. So you have a backside that looks a little bit like this. Now that our walls are complete, you want to go ahead and grab these stone blocks and these stone brick blocks from earlier. And underneath of here, you want to go ahead and vary a little bit of textures, putting full solid stone and stone brick blocks underneath of here. We're going to end up hanging some lanterns on the inside. That's why I'm filling it in, because I feel like number 1, it needs to be filled in, and number 2, I think the lanterns look pretty cool like that. So you want to go ahead and do that on both sides so that it's a smooth edge going all the way over to the wall. Now our outside, except for all the details, is now complete. Now we're going to step on the interior. You want to go ahead and grab your hay bales, and probably your barrels as well, and your cauldrons, and your 3 buckets of water as well. Make sure you grab those. I will only have 1 water bucket, but you will need 3 total. So either have 1 bucket and fill it 3 times, or just have 3 separate buckets. We're going to step on the interior, and we're going to dig out the floor. We're going to dig out this 5x3 area, I believe, along with the area underneath of the fence gates right here. Something like that. And we're going to start adding in a little mixture of hay bales like so, with a few of them facing up like this. It doesn't really matter what order, just make sure you place all your hay bales in here. This way the horses will have something to eat if they ever go down on health. So we'll have something like this, and I think it's a pretty cool little floor. Now on this back wall, you want to place your 3 cauldrons on the ground right in front of the windows, and fill each cauldron with water like so. Next, you want to go ahead and grab your ladders like so. You only need 2 ladders. You'll place 1 here. We're going to leave a 1 block gap above the middle cauldron, 1 ladder, and then a second ladder up above. And this is how you will get up to the 2nd floor. Now be wary coming up this ladder, because you will fall into this cauldron. Just try to stand on the edge here and get up onto the ladder. Now that that is done, grab your stripped oak or oak logs, whichever method you are doing, and your oak planks, and vary up a little bit of a textured floor for your 2nd floor. I am using full blocks. You can use half slabs as well, although I do recommend using full blocks because I think that they just look better from underneath. So you have a little bit of something like this for the interior. Now you want to go ahead and fill in the top here. So where this big gap is at the very top of the ceiling, you want to fill that in with a horizontal line of stripped oak logs, just like this. You want to go ahead now and grab your oak stairs as well as your oak slabs. Make sure you have those handy while you're building on the inside. You can have your barrels and your hay bales ready as well, because you will end up needing those. And while we're at it, you might as well have your lanterns on you as well, so make sure you have those. Head back up the ladder once you get all your stuff. And then we're going to add a little bit of some variation. So we're going to have 1 or 2 block gaps in between these stairs on the blocks right next to where the stripped oak pillar is on either side. Do something like this. And then where these gaps are, we're going to place downward facing stripped oak logs just like so. And underneath of each of these, we're going to add a little bit of some oak slabs, because I think that looks pretty cool. Now underneath of this side of the roof, you're going to place oak slabs underneath of every single one of these stripped oak that you have. It's going to vary depending upon how you do your texture variation, but for me it looks a little something like this on either side. And I do that just to add a little bit of support, I guess, and that way it doesn't blend too much with these oak. You can do whatever sort of variation you want. Now with your lanterns, place one block away from your back side and 1 from the front side, just like so. Now you're going to grab your hay bales and replace a little bit of some hay bales here and there. Now this is going to vary depending upon how you like placing hay bales, but I recommend doing something a little bit like this. Maybe 3 or 4, maybe 5 little stacks of hay bales in here. Like I said earlier, I do recommend getting a stack of hay bales in general, just so that you have plenty on you, because these will vary by person. And then you're going to go ahead and place in your barrels as well with a little something like this. It doesn't matter how these barrels are placed in. It will totally depend upon whatever you like to do for barrels. So I highly recommend experimenting a little bit and seeing how many barrels you want to have in here. I recommend storing apples, golden apples, sugar, wheat, things that you will need for horse breeding and for taking care of horses. Leave them up here. Maybe even saddles and horse armor. That's entirely up to you what you use these barrels for. And if you want to, you can add in some lanterns on top of some of these. areas like so, on top of a barrel on one side and a hay bale on the other, or 2 hay bales. It's entirely dependent upon you. That's just a little bit of extra lighting. It's just a little extra detail that I like to add. And once you're done with that, come down to the first floor and add in lanterns right above each of the edge cauldrons. As you can see, right next to the ladder. I think it adds a little bit of light. It's a very cool little effect, I feel like, on the inside. And in terms of the interior, that is now done. You can go ahead and put your horse in if you want to. I have a horse over here that I'm going to go ahead and place in here. You're more than welcome to go ahead and do that. Just open up 2 of these fence gates. Make sure you have a horse to begin with. If you don't have one, make sure you go get one. You can go get it later, or you can put it in now. And now we are on to the exterior. Now the exterior will be very, very, very simple. It's a very easy way of doing an exterior, and I think you guys will enjoy it. So the first thing I always start off with is the lanterns. You're going to place 2 lanterns on the front. Where the horizontal oak pillar meets the 2 vertical ones, you're going to place the lanterns hanging from the horizontal pillar. On each of the sides where we filled in earlier with the stone and stone brick, you're going to place 1 lantern in front of each window. On the back side, you're going to place the lanterns the exact same way you did with the front, and on the other side, the exact same way that you did on the previous side, like so. So from the back, it looks something like this. From the front, or from the side, something like this. From the front, something like this. And the side, once again. Now comes the part where it will also, just like the interior, it will depend upon whatever you want to do. I like adding in hay bale, little packs of 1, 2, or 3 hay bales around these pillar blocks in here, or these oak pillars. I think it adds a nice little bit of variation, but it's entirely dependent upon whatever you want to do for an exterior. There's no set tutorial on this. If you want me to sort of explain a little more in a different tutorial, let me know down in the comment section below. We're going to have something like this for the hay bales. And then for the oak leaves, we're going to do the same way that we placed the hay bales around this area. You can even go underground if you want to, or into the ground if you will. Place a few more of these around here, covering up I like to cover up the oak pillars, as you can see. So if you want to do that as well, I highly recommend that. And of course, we're going to place some on the front as well. And we have something like this. And if you filled in down here like I did, you can go ahead and replace this with grass, or if you want to add a little bit of a pathway, one thing you can do, and a pathway design I definitely like, if I can type, is coarse dirt. And if I can get a shovel, we can get ourselves some path blocks as well. So you're more than welcome to add some sort of pathway, whatever pathway you already have going around your area, or if you want to add in a new pathway, something like that works out pretty well for a pathway design around here. But yeah, like I said, you can go ahead and replace the outline if you had one. If you didn't have one, don't worry about it. If you did and you like the outline, you can keep it. It's entirely up to you. I tend to replace it because I don't think it looks all that great, but that is, like I said, entirely up to you. And the final thing that you can add, if you want to the roof here, is a little bit of some leafage. So there's no set tutorial, no set way of doing this, but I do recommend adding in a few leaves, maybe something like this on the sides, maybe another set of leaves like this. I try to make sure that they're not connected too much vertically. I feel like the vertical connections aren't all that great, so I try to only connect the leaves at the corners, as you can see, and we'll hang some off of the back here as well, something like this. Like I said, there's no set way of doing this. It's just entirely dependent upon how you like to place leaves, but just adding a few leaves here and there along the edge is a pretty cool, nifty thing to add. So from the side, it looks like this. Doesn't cover up too much of it, but it does cover up a decent bit of the sides. And I think having 4 little patches is a pretty cool little thing. Maybe you want to add a 5th one right here. I like this 5th one. That's nice. Entirely up to you, like I said. But yeah, guys, that's going to wrap it up for this tutorial. Hopefully you all enjoyed. Let me know if you have any suggestions for the tutorial down in the comment section below, whether it is a suggestion for the horse stable, what you want to see me do next in terms of tutorials, and if you have any other feedback, feel free to leave it down below. If this helped you, feel free to leave a like. And if you're new around here, feel free to subscribe. I will also leave a world download for this down in the description. If you are confused about anything, make sure you go to that world download, or just leave me a comment and I'll try to explain as much as I can. But yeah, guys, take care, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.